Welcome back to KSG. Welcome if it's your first time here. KSG is Knowledge, Skills, and Gear. I am Joe, and I'm here at KSG. Our goal is to help you build an independent lifestyle one step at a time. And today, we are going to talk about being a digital rebel to help you build that independent lifestyle. To understand why we're going to say this, we have to go all the way back to those dark days when we still had cable television and the internet was a scary place, and you didn't actually meet people from the internet. This is where we would hear things like, data is going to be the new oil. And we said, what? What are you talking about? Data is the new oil. Who cares what I put on a Word document? Now, data is the new oil. Google has built an empire off of data. And data privacy has become a very big concern for us. And to understand data privacy, we have to understand what data is, where it comes from, and why somebody would want it. So what is data? Data can be things like this video. It can be pictures that you took. It can be a TikTok video. It can be your search history. All of this type of stuff is data, and that's direct data. That's data that we generate. We sort of speak it into existence by creating it. But then there's data about that. So if we think about taking a picture, that picture is data. But the information about what device it was taken on, where it was taken, when it was taken, all of that is data about the picture, or data about existing data, and that's metadata, also valuable. So there, now we see that there are two types of data, and I'm vastly oversimplifying this. So if you're out there, if you are in the computer information world or the data information world, you know there's more to it than this, but for the layperson, this is enough. So we understand that we're generating data that way. And where do we store it? These things have a limited amount of space on them. So we store it in the cloud. And for most of us, that just means it's somewhere else, not on my device, that my device always has access to. Well, what the cloud really is someone else's computer that you're borrowing space on in one way or another. If you are storing your pictures with Google Photos, they're on Google's servers, which are just big computers specialized for holding and sharing photos. And they may be in more than one place. There may physically be many, many copies of them. Now, this is going to be true of things like your text messages, your emails. It's going to hold true of the data about your photos, about your emails, about your text messages. Most of us will use our phones even for navigation. We use our navigation apps on them, like Google Maps or Apple Maps or Waze or anything like that. Well, data about where your device is, hence where you are, is another kind of data that's very valuable. Most of us, if we've left our phones in a default configuration, we can go back and look at our travel history on our phones. So, step one in being a digital rebel, know what data you're sharing and with whom you're sharing it. This can be accomplished in your settings. Now guys, this is a very high level video. This is a macro view. If there's interest in any of these parts, talk to me in the comments and we'll do some breakouts on this. And we'll make this kind of a point to help you understand that, and we'll learn it together and learn how to control it a little bit better. But now we understand that we have our pictures and stuff that we see and that we share selectively, but then there's the data about those pictures and about those texts, about where we went. This becomes public. This is how advertisers find us. It's how we're fed ads. This is how Google provides things like email, picture storage, access to YouTube for free. They're not a bad guy here, but they're using your data and you need to know it's out there. This is no different if you're on iOS from Apple or anything else. So we have it there. Now, I brought up a couple of manufacturers, but I haven't mentioned PCs. Guess what? Windows does the same thing. Now, guys, I want to bring something up. The vast majority of us are going to be PC users. The second biggest class of us are going to be Mac users. If you're a Mac user, you're very used to the concept of an iCloud account and keychain. You're not going to get into a Mac device without an iCloud. That iCloud is Apple's computers. Your data, your passwords, everything else about you is stored there. Apple has it, and Apple ultimately has control. That's been a big advantage Windows for the longest time, but with the advent of Windows 11, unless you have a Pro or Enterprise Edition, you have to create that Microsoft account now. That means your account, your username, your password, your settings, your preferences, what programs you own, all of this sits with Microsoft now. It belongs to them. Now, there are still ways around this if you're using Windows 10 or if you're using an earlier version. But guys, just in case anybody's been under a rock, Pennsylvania's water system has been hacked. There's been multiple breaches across everywhere. That's why you're seeing this information, this video today on our readiness channel. Cyber warfare, cyber attacks are at an all-time high, and they show no signs of backing down. Matter of fact, major corporations have taken a it's not if but when approach to cybersecurity, meaning that part of their cybersecurity solution is to have ransom to pay to get their own data back. Guys, we got to take this more seriously, and we have to understand that's what this vocabulary lesson is today. So if you have a Microsoft account or an Apple account, you have your data in the cloud, which, remember guys, the cloud is, let's all say it together, somebody else's computer. That means we're reliant on our security, our network security, and their security, and their, no. Guys, let's think differently. Our data is ours. We're gonna disobey. We're gonna be digital rebels here. So one of the first things we can do is say, well, we got to pick the lesser of two evils. We have to go with either Windows or we have to go with Apple, and Apple's expensive and Windows is boring. And, I'm just going to use my cell phone. Guys, you can have another option, and that is Linux. Now, Linux is free, like free pizza, free beer, free speech. It's free. You can get paid versions with support and enterprise, but you do not need to. If you are brand new to the concept of Linux, this is not the video to learn it. But this is where you're going to pause the video, you're going to open another tab, and I want you to check out what is Ubuntu Linux, UBUNTU, and what is Mint Linux, MINT. Now, there are dozens upon dozens of magnificent distros, and those of you that are using it already know I probably did mention your favorite. These are well-supported, long-term distros that are new user-friendly as much so as it gets, and they're relatively easy to understand. And guys, here's the best part. You don't need a fancy computer to do this on. You can actually try this as a demo on your existing computer. If you do searches for those terms I put up, and I will actually link in the description of this video, you can see that there are options to try it before you buy it, so to speak. And by buy it, I mean install it on your computer. Point number two, if you have an old computer laying around the house that's about to become part of a landfill, spare Mother Earth a little bit. You can put Linux on it and it's probably going to run pretty good. It is a good modern operating system. You can go, okay, that's it for that kind of talk. Because why am I bringing this up? Because Linux is the first step that you can do to take back some of your digital sovereignty. You're going to control who gets the data and where it goes. Again, if you guys want me to do a video on Linux, I will probably do one on either Mint or Ubuntu, because those are the ones that I have floating around on the instruments that I have. I would be more than happy to do an introductory. Just let me know in the comments down below. That is an idea for the future. But folks, in the meantime, why would we bother to learn this and do this? Well, number one, if we do this, we're taking back some of our sovereignty, because we don't have to make an account with Apple and we don't have to make an account with Microsoft. If you're running a modern operating system with Apple, your information's already in the cloud. If you're with Microsoft and you're still on Windows 10, you're probably in pretty good shape. But guess what? October of 2025, and I know we're talking almost 2 years here, Microsoft is going to stop supporting Windows 10. Now, that doesn't mean you have to stop using it. But what it does mean is that they're no longer going to be putting safety and security patches on it. They'll be moving full-fledged into Windows 11, if not Windows 12. Now, this brings a whole host of other issues. Notably, if you move to Windows 11, your student and home editions are going to require an online account. If you move to Windows 12, not only is it most likely going to be an online account, there's probably going to be AI powered. Now, AI is not something that frightens me. It's a tool that we can definitely use, but guys, maybe we don't want it baked into our operating systems. Just something to think about. The other reason I'm bringing you this video now, using this a lot. All that said, if you are a little more on the savvy side and you're into the tech a little bit more, you're probably already dabbling in cryptocurrencies. Something else that goes good with the Linux privacy thought are going to be crypto wallets. When you purchase crypto, or when you acquire crypto, if you acquire it on an exchange and that is how you manipulate it and hold it, that's probably fine, but you have to have an internet connection to access your crypto, and you're going to pay fees where if Bob wants to pay Susie with Bitcoin and Susie's okay with it, some person in the middle, let's call him Alan gets a percentage of fee off that for transferring it through that exchange. It doesn't have to be that way. If you have non-custodial wallets, you can pay direct and skip the fees in the center. That is part of decentralization. That is part of the allure of cryptocurrencies. These non-custodial wallets do very, very well in Linux. So let's just rehash, because we just went down the crazy old rabbit hole in this first video of 2024. In 2024, if we're only going to do one thing to get a little more independent, let's become digital rebels and take back at least part of our digital sovereignty. Step one, we're going to learn what we're sharing and what these terms really mean so people can't talk over us or talk around us anymore. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize that we have options and that we don't have to be a slave to anything that's already existing or any kind of set standards already. The third thing we're going to do is understand that we can be disruptors and we can go outside of this. So with all of that said, guys, the biggest thing I can ask you is please engage with me in the comments here and tell me what you would like to see more of. I think it is about time that I wrap this video up. This is a very quick one. I am Joe. This has been KSG Knowledge, Skills, and Gear. We're talking nerdy today, and this is our first installment of Becoming a Digital Rebel. Thank you for being here.